What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, I want to talk about this, man. Anthony Joshua, former unified British heavyweight world champion, will be taking on Andy Ruiz Jr., current unified Mexican heavyweight champion, in a highly anticipated rematch this Saturday night in Saudi Arabia, December 7th. With that said, I want to talk about a few things regarding Anthony Joshua and his career. Should Anthony Joshua come up short in this fight? I'm going to tell you guys why this fight means everything to both fighters. It means everything to Andy Ruiz Jr., and it also means everything to Anthony Joshua. More so Anthony Joshua than Andy Ruiz. Why do you say that, Blue? Because Anthony Joshua would have been on a 2-fight losing streak. Andy Ruiz would be 1-1 in his last 2 fights. And he pulled off one of the biggest upsets in boxing history. So he's still going to be a hot commodity. Anthony Joshua loses this fight, everything goes by the wayside for Anthony Joshua. Why? Because the first guy that actually pressed forward and when they was able to close the show, unlike Vladimir Klitschko was unable to close the show, and unlike Dillian White was unable to close the show when he had him hurt. Dillian White had him in serious trouble. Vladimir Klitschko had him in serious trouble, but they were unable to close the show. When you look at guys like Alexander Povetkin, Joseph Parker, they had buzzed them in the first round, but nothing too serious. We never felt like Anthony Joshua was in danger of losing the fight with Povetkin or Joseph Parker. Now, I know a lot of people weren't happy with the referee with the Joseph Parker fight. They didn't let Joseph Parker work too much on the inside, and so not too many people were happy with that, right? Nonetheless, Andrew Ruiz Jr. was able to close the show against Anthony Joshua. He was able to expose Anthony Joshua, need I say. He was able to expose Anthony Joshua not on a boxing level, but on a mental level. So if Anthony Joshua is unable to be victorious Saturday night, and it depends on how he loses. Let's say it goes to the scorecards and it was a very, very close fight, ends in a draw like Wilder Fury, or let's say, it's controversy and people feel like he won the fight, but Ruiz got the fight, or something to that situation, right? He drops Ruiz a couple of times, but he still don't get the nod. I see that hard to prove to be true, to come to fruition, but anything's possible, right? And so with that said, Anthony Joshua, people are not going to believe him anymore. You're not believable. You're not sellable anymore. You understand? Your flame has fizzled out should Anthony Joshua lose again. Nobody's going to want to see Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder, because you're going to expect Deontay Wilder to knock him out. And if, let's say, for some reason, Tyson Fury is able to defeat Deontay Wilder, nobody's going to call for a Tyson Fury-Joshua fight. Why? Because we've seen him being outboxed and stopped by boxers. Boxers don't mix with Anthony Joshua. So nobody's going to call for that. But now that's still a domestic fight, because you still get people that clamor for Kell Brook and Amir Khan. So you still might be able to get it, domestically in the UK, right? But that's the only big fight he'll be able to get. A trilogy fight with Andy Ruiz goes by the wayside regardless of what Anthony Joshua is stating. Anthony Joshua is stating that he must fight Andy Ruiz in a trilogy fight, in a rubber match, win, lose, or draw. It's only a rubber match if you win the second fight. It's not a rubber match if you lose the second fight. Because a third fight would prove nothing if you won, because Ruiz would still be up 2-1. So you would call for a 4th fight, right? Like Pacquiao Marquez. He says that, Joshua said that all the best need to fight at the top. All the heavy hitters need to face off. So this is why he's calling for a 3rd fight, and he has something to prove against Ruiz. Well, here's the thing about this with Joshua. He was built up to be the face of boxing. You understand? Anthony Joshua, yes, he won a gold medal in the UK. Yes, he's an Olympic gold medalist. Yes, he won a world title with just 16 fights. you know, but that's because the powers that be put you in that position, not for the the gold medal, but to win the title in the 16th fight. The powers that be allowed that to take place. They give you that opportunity. They gave you that opportunity. You understand what I'm saying? Guys like Devin Haney wasn't given that opportunity. You understand? Shakur Stevenson had to work his way to that opportunity. You understand what I'm saying? Floyd Mayweather had to work his way to that opportunity. And then when Floyd Mayweather did it, you know, early in his career, you know, people thought it was just too early. They thought it was asinine that Floyd Mayweather would even step in the ring with such a veteran, right? A champion, right? So, so when you look at it from that aspect, right? People built Anthony Joshua up to this position. And everything is riding with Matchroom and Anthony Joshua Saturday night. The pressure is thick as fog in the swamp. You understand me? Because everything goes by the wayside should Joshua lose. As far as their credibility, as far as their reign, you know, being compared to the PBCs and the Matchroom, and the top ranks, right? Because they don't have any other marquee fighters. The next marquee fighter they have is Katie Taylor. So just like for Anthony Joshua, everything rides on the line for them. Right? Everything rides on the line for Eddie Hearn and Matchroom. Just like it is for Anthony Joshua. All of the endorsements and all of the sponsors and, you know, all of that's going to go by the wayside. Everybody loves you when you win it. Right? You're a brand. Everybody wants you to represent their brand when you're winning. Everybody. Because they're attaching their name to greatness, to winning, to victory. Everybody wants to be part of victory. Nobody wants to be part of failure. So if Anthony Joshua goes and loses to a guy that looks like Andy Ruiz twice, your whole entire career is going to be perceived as created. It's going to sink quickly. Your reign on the top, like Biggie said, was short like leprechaun. You understand what I'm saying? Your career is going to be exposed. Right? Because guys around you that you beat, Vladimir Klitschko, that's the only guy. 40 years old, came off a 2-year layoff, right? And don't get me wrong. They went tooth and nail. He got up off the canvas to put Vladimir Klitschko in permanent retirement. Right? Dillian White fights anybody seriously credible. That's another opponent. Dillian White is going to lose to Luis Ortiz. Dillian White is going to lose to Deontay Wilder. Right? Another non-credible opponent on your resume. Joseph Parker arguably lost to Ruiz. Right? Joseph Parker, you know, lost to Dillian White then. Right? It seemed like Joseph Parker was avoiding Derek Chisora. Right? So Anthony Joshua's career is going to be a paper. It's going to fold like paper, like loose leaf paper. Should he lose again? And as far as him talking about he'll fight another 5 to 10 years, that won't happen. That won't happen. Because he's not credible anymore. He's not going to be believable anymore. He must win this fight to carry on his career. Legitimately. He absolutely must win this fight to be credible from here on out. From here on out. Especially if he gets stopped again. Imagine he gets dropped and stopped again. Let's say he gets dropped 2 more times and stopped. That means Andy Ruiz would have put him down 6 times and stopped him twice. Who's going to believe him? Everybody's going to say, listen, you was a lab. You was created in a lab, and guess what? The jig was up. Just like in Rocky IV with Ivan Drago. The jig was up. Right? Right? It's just like, you know, in Ivan Drago's situation, we understood that, you know, he was using enhancers. And once he got cut, and he was bleeding. Remember they said, he's hurt, he's cut. The Russian's cut. He can actually get cut. He's hurt. So the aura of invincibility went right out the window, and so did Ivan Drago's career, as you saw in the Creed movies, right? Right, and there's some truth to that. Because Anthony Joshua, you lose again to Andy Ruiz, the aura of invincibility, the power of the muscles, the approach, it all goes by the wayside. So that's why this is tons of pressure on Anthony Joshua, regardless of what he wants to tell you guys, regardless of what he wants to say in the interviews. He likes to say in these interviews he has no pressure. He feels no pressure. All the pressure is gone. Well, in fact, all the pressure just is double than what it was the first fight. Because this is it. You understand? Just like in football in the Super Bowl, you lose, you go home, that's it, it's over. Right? It's not like the NBA Finals or the World Series where you get 7-game series. Nah, you lose, you go home. He lose, this is it. He goes home. He's going to be the forgotten man. The only thing he has going for him is that he fights in the UK, and losses in the UK are not perceived the same way they are in the States. But he'll never be a hot commodity here in the States. Never, ever. He will never be a hot commodity here in the States. He will have never conquered the States. Ever. Ever. Now in the UK, he can stay there, build up his resume, build himself back up. But guess what? As soon as you put him, and they could match him against anybody they want over there, but guess what? The aura of invincibility will be gone, and everybody will test him. Because the only chance Andy Ruiz has to win this fight is to win by stoppage, knockout. He ain't going to win on the cards unless he absolutely drops him like 4 times and, never stops him but goes to the cards, and it's just no way possible you could give it to Joshua. That's the only way Andy Ruiz is going to win this fight, on the cards. So for that, meaning that Anthony Joshua would most likely have gotten stopped should he lose this fight again. And so when he tells you there is no pressure, no, there's tons of pressure. That's why his conversation changes every other interview. That's why it sounds like he's contradicting himself. He's not contradicting. Yeah, he is contradicting himself, but it's the pressure that's getting to him. It's loads of pressure on him. There's absolutely more pressure on him than it is Ruiz. Now, with that said, there's pressure on Andy Ruiz too. Absolutely, because Andy Ruiz has to prove this wasn't a fluke. The situation with James Buster Douglas and Mike Tyson was totally different than this situation, because we never got to see if Mike Tyson, did Buster Douglas have his number? Some guys just have your number. Vernon Forrest had Shane Mosley's number, right? Some guys just have your number. Ricardo Mayorga had Vernon Forrest's number, but Shane Mosley had Mayorga's number. It just works that way. Some guys just have your number. They just do, for whatever reason. Antonio Tarver just had Roy Jones' number for whatever reason, in the amateurs and in the pros. Nobody mistake Antonio Tarver for Roy Jones in history and legacy, but he just had Roy Jones' number. And that could possibly be the case with Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua. The only difference is this is early in Joshua's career. That was late in Roy Jones, Shane Mosley. It was late in their career. Their legacy was already set in stone. So they lost to who had their number, but they was able to carry on and still get other big wins and push those losses to the side because their legacy was already set in stone. In this case with Anthony Joshua, his legacy is not set in stone. He has one signature win, and that's Vladimir Klitschko. And there's an asterisk by that because Vladimir Klitschko got off his couch, was on a 2-year layoff, coming off of a loss, 40-plus years of age, and fought Anthony Joshua, 40 years old, and went tooth and nail with him. And that's his signature win. So with that said, like Andy Ruiz, there's pressure, but there's double the pressure for him than it was the first fight. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe that the pressure is not the same amount of pressure. The pressure is relieved and it's off him. No, there's even more pressure. You best believe Under Armour it got their their checkbook and got their contracts ready to be voided. You best believe JP Sports and all those endorsement companies will back off immediately, faster than he can say what happened. Trust me. Now, some going to stick around because he's still going to be a name in the UK. But as far as the boxing world and the way they was perceiving him, you know, and selling him to the world, no. See, Saul Canelo Alvarez, 4-division Mexican world champion, superstar boxer, lost to Floyd Mayweather in a dramatic fashion. Got beat from pillar to post, lost every round, every single round. But guess what happened? He never got stopped. And when he lost to Floyd Mayweather, see, the difference is Floyd Mayweather was perceived as the TBE, the best to ever do it. Undefeated, right? Arguably the greatest fighter to ever grace the square circle. So there's a difference in losing to Floyd Mayweather and losing to Andy Ruiz, who nobody saw coming but hardcore boxing fans. You understand what I'm saying? So Canelo Alvarez was able to bounce back from that loss. And he didn't do it twice. See, he never got an opportunity to fight Floyd Mayweather again. If Floyd Mayweather got in the ring with Canelo Alvarez and did the same thing in a rematch, Canelo Alvarez wouldn't be perceived the way he's perceived today. You're able to push that to the side because when you lose to Floyd Mayweather, it's like you're supposed to lose to him. It's expected. So it's, yeah, but he lost to Floyd Mayweather. That don't count. When you lose to Andy Ruiz, and you chiseled and 6'6", 250 pounds, looked like you was created in a lab, muscles on top of muscles, self-proclaimed, they claim you as the knockout artist, the face of the sport of boxing, selling out Wembley Stadium like nobody else did, but we know that's not true. Because Carl Froch and George Groves did it. They did 80,000 at Wembley Stadium, but you don't hear about that. You only hear about Anthony Joshua selling out Wembley Stadium because it's a agenda push. He was the chosen one. They chose him to be at the top of the mountain coming out the UK. And so him losing to Andy Ruiz a second time, it's over, baby. It's over. It will never bounce back. It will never bounce back. When he's saying win, lose, or draw, he wants a trilogy fight, not going to happen. Yeah, he'll continue his career in the UK. And so when you get guys saying, well, all heavyweights lost. By the time Muhammad Ali lost to Ken Norton and guys like Joe Frazier, his legacy was already cemented. So he could bounce back. That's the difference that they're not telling you. And Muhammad Ali took losses to guys that you thought was possible for them to beat him. It's just that he was the favorite because he was so great in every fight. So when he lost, it was a surprise, but it was who he lost to. He lost to Joe Frazier and Ken Norton. You understand what I'm saying? It's who he lost to. That counts. So nobody saw and nobody perceived Andy Ruiz as Joe Frazier or Ken Norton or Floyd Mayweather. You understand what I'm saying? He came out of nowhere. Hardcore boxing fans knew who he was. But he came out of nowhere. He wasn't perceived the same way as Joe Frazier and Floyd Mayweather. No, absolutely not. So losing to them is totally different. So when people tell you, well, the greatest fighters lost it, you look who they lost to. When Mike Tyson lost to Buster Douglas, we started looking like, man, the first time somebody got in the ring with him that wasn't scared, look what they did to him. And he bounced back, but then when he got in the ring with Evander Holyfield, right? And he lost to Evander Holyfield, right? Everybody started looking at him, oh, he ain't the same no more. But because he had cemented his legacy so far at that point and so deep, and then he lost to Evander Holyfield. And then everybody made an excuse for why he lost to Buster Douglas, because there was never a rematch. If Mike Tyson had fought Buster Douglas and rematched Buster Douglas and lost to Buster Douglas, it would have been over for Mike Tyson. But Mike Tyson never rematched Buster Douglas, so we never saw that again to say it was a fluke or it wasn't. Or did Buster Douglas have his number? That never came to fruition. So when he did lose again, it came to the hands of Evander Holyfield and guys like that. So, again, Evander Holyfield's a legend. He's a Hall of Famer. And by the time Evander Holyfield fought Mike Tyson, his legacy was already cemented for what he did at cruiserweight and what he started to do at heavyweight. You understand what I'm saying? And then Mike Tyson lost to guys like Lennox Lewis. So when they tell you, oh, even the greats lost, yeah, look who they lost to. That counts. So when they tell you a loss is not that bad, no, it's who you lost to. See, so Andy Ruiz will have, if Andy Ruiz beats Anthony Joshua, then goes on and gets knocked out in dramatic fashion by Deontay Wilder, and let's say second, third round, and nobody's calling for a rematch, that's a knock against Anthony Joshua. It's a knock against Anthony Joshua and his career and his legacy. So when they tell you, oh, these fighters, the greats lost, Muhammad Ali lost, who did they lose to? They didn't lose to an Andy Ruiz. You see what I'm saying? Now you can point to guys like Lennox Lewis that got knocked out by Oliver McCall and Hasim Rahman. But the thing about that is, those were one-punch knockouts that can happen to anybody. He got clipped. They didn't show that they was better. They didn't just beat him from pillar to post. They didn't drop him 4 times and stop him, Lennox Lewis. No, Lennox Lewis got clipped. Not taking guys serious, got clipped and got knocked out. That can happen to any heavyweight. Any heavyweight. And what happened in those rematches? Lennox Lewis showed up and showed out. Showed up and showed out. Showed that they didn't belong in the ring with him. He didn't go in a rematch with them and lose. So when people telling you if he lose again, it's not that bad, that's false. That's false. They're playing with your emotions. Lennox Lewis didn't go in. If Lennox Lewis would have went in with Oliver McCall and lost again, that would have been the end of his career. If Lennox Lewis would have went in and lost to Hasim Rahman again, or won close, razor close thin fights, that would have been the end of his career. Lennox Lewis went in there and totally outclassed and showed that they never belonged in the ring with him to begin with, and that it was a fluke to knock him out. Period. Point blank and period. That's not the case when we're dealing with Anthony Joshua. If Anthony Joshua loses to Andy Ruiz for a second time, it's over. It is over, Jack. It's over. The ship has sailed. It is over. The only way he fought another 5 to 10 years, it will be in the UK. And when it comes to fights like Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury is a possibility because it's a domestic fight. But when it comes to other guys like, there's still a lot of unproven fighters. So maybe he could build his stuff back up with those guys like, Jarrell Big Baby Miller. That fight may come to fruition. Maybe a fight, a rematch with Dillian White. But guess what? Those guys are going to put so much pressure on him. And his psyche going to be so broken. His mental is going to be so broken that they're going to put so much pressure on him, Dillian White and Jarrell Big Baby Miller, and they'll probably knock him out. It'll be opening the floodgates. Trust me. So don't let them fool you and tell you and push this agenda. If he lose, it's not that bad. Other greats have lost. It's totally different. It's apples and oranges. Lennox Lewis situation, apples and oranges. Muhammad Ali situation, apples and oranges. You understand what I'm saying? 2 different things, man. 2 different things. But that's all I got for y'all. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hey, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed? Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share this video. That's all I got for y'all. Just wanted to give y'all a quick explanation and breakdown of why Anthony Joshua fight with Andy Ruiz rematch is all but career ending for Anthony Joshua should he not win. So all I got for y'all. Peace.